afraid to speak, alleged the driver of the taxi was forcefully removed from the car.
While travelling to Naboomspruit in Limpopo, provincial police say 11 inmates were in the vehicle and they were being transported from Mokopane police station to court. The rest of the inmates have now been taken to a nearby hospital for treatment. Spokesperson Hlulani Mashaba.
Meanwhile, 7 inmates were injured and transported to hospital to receive medical attention. Our heartfelt condolences to the families of both the officer and inmates.
In the courts now, the trial of Duduzile Sambudla Zuma in relation to the 2021 July unrest has been set down for November this year. This has been decided by the Durban High Court today. The daughter of former President Jacob Zuma faces charges of incitement to commit terrorism and incitement to commit public violence. The charges are linked to the unrest which led to widespread looting and left public infrastructure in KwaZulu-Natal and parts of Gauteng damaged. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
Alleged July unrest instigator Duduzile Zuma Sambudla returned to the Durban High Court for a pre-trial conference today. She is accused of encouraging the July 2021 riots after supporters demanded her father, former President Jacob Zuma, to be released from the Escort Correctional Facility, went on a looting spree. It's alleged Sambudla Zuma used social media to spur on the looting by sharing some of the incidents caught on tape with the caption, "We see you." NPA spokesperson Natasha Ramkissonkara says trial dates have been set.
The judge in the matter certified the matter trial ready and the matter was adjourned to the 10th of November for trial. The trial has been set down for the 10th to the 21st of November 2025.
The prosecution says it believes it has a watertight case. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News.
Let's stay in the courts. Former Apartheid-era cop Johan Murray has filed an application for leave to appeal his recent sentence. Murray was sentenced to 15 years behind bars for killing anti-apartheid activist Caiphus Nyoka. On the 24th of August in 1987, Murray, along with his colleagues, fatally shot Nyoka multiple times inside his Davidson home. Murray was charged alongside his 3 other colleagues and he pleaded guilty to the charges. Thandoluhle Ngcobo reports.
Last month, the Pretoria High Court sentenced Johan Murray to 15 years direct imprisonment for the 1987 killing of Caiphus Nyoka, a prominent student leader and anti-apartheid activist in the East Rand. During sentencing, Murray had told the court that he committed the offence 37 years ago under the instructions of the apartheid regime. He further asked the court for a sentence of correctional supervision because of his age, medical condition, and that he showed remorse for his actions. When handing down the sentence, Judge Papi Mosapa agreed with the state that Murray lacked genuine remorse and therefore found that the sentence given was fitting for the crimes committed. Murray's leave application will be heard back at the Pretoria High Court tomorrow. Thandoluhle Ngcobo, Eyewitness News.
And in the UK, doctors have warned travellers to use insect repellent and cover their skin, as well as sleep under bed nets. This comes as infections related to the chikungunya virus continue to rise. The virus is spread by mosquitoes and most people recover, but in some cases the symptoms can last several months. While chikungunya cannot be spread directly from person to person, doctors have advised people to take precautionary measures before and after travelling. Gold is trading at $3,356.64 an ounce. The rand is at 17.56 to the dollar, 23.85 to the pound, 20.52 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $65.63 a barrel.
Edenvale heading towards Bedfordview, bumper-to-bumper traffic, R24 westbound. This is between Edenvale Road and the Gilulis interchange. Also leaving the Joburg CBD, we still have slow-moving traffic on Main Reef Road between Anderson and Church, and look out for those faulty traffic lights in the Randburg area at Malibongo Drive and Mahogany.
It's a fine afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of 24 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, tensions remain high in Pimville, Soweto, where a taxi has now been torched.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Relebogile Mabotja.
Live, streaming countrywide
On the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
7 minutes after 1 o'clock. Welcome 7:02 afternoons with me, Relebogile Mabotja, on this Thursday, the 14th of August. And yeah, we are watching the footage on our screens in studio of what's happening in Soweto. EWN will keep us updated. There's a taxi that's been torched in Pimville after what happened at Maponya Mall. Yo, guys, we need to take these things seriously because we know they've been going on for a while, particularly at that location with the e-hailing services. But coming up on the show, I want to ask of your thoughts when it comes to reproductive rights in South Africa. And I want to find out from all of you if you believe that men should have the same reproductive rights as women. And if that is the case, how should it be implemented? For example, if a woman chooses to go ahead and have a child, anyways, should she be able to still come after you for maintenance in future and other things? I really, really want to get an understanding, and I'll share with where this all comes from. Belief matters. What does belief in the power of crystals mean? We'll be joined by Amy Ann Atkinson, who is an energy healing therapist and practitioner as well. Then in the second hour of the show, it's all about momentum. Momentum's season 7, she owns her success. We're going to be joined by Masachaba Gokolo, Insights lead, research and reporting. And then afterwards, we're going to have a conversation around the invisible barriers women face with disabilities in South Africa. We'll be joined by Lungi Mkwani, qualified in public relations and call center training, who is an individual that lives with osteogenesis imperfecta, which is brittle bones. She'll be joining us for that conversation. And if you're wondering, hey, isn't it a Thursday? Is it not supposed to be our consumer rights feature? Nola knows. Wendy Nola is off today, but that does not stop us from bringing these all-important conversations, not just for all of us, but also geared towards Women's Month. Get in touch with us, 011 883 0702. SMS us 31702. Tweet at Relebogile M at Radio 702 using the hashtag 702 afternoons and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
702 afternoons
with Relebogile Mabotja
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
A woman has shared a story about her cousin, and I want to know what your thoughts are, like in real life, practical terms. And at some point, I'm going to ask my colleague to share his views on air with all of you that he had shared with me. But in essence, when it comes to reproductive rights in South Africa, we know what the law says pertaining to women. As we say, my body, my choice, right? That is what we always speak to. And I know there is another reality to it that maybe we don't speak about as much because we tend to look at what the law has to say. Now, Pinkhead XO posted the following on X saying, my cousin is pregnant and the guy says that he's not ready for a child and has sent her money to terminate. He has since blocked her everywhere. She says she's keeping the baby. And she's included there, a shocked face meme, basically. Now, so many comments are taking place with many saying, tell her to terminate. She's on her own. Tell her to do it. Another one is saying, this is wrong, because soon she'll be filing a case demanding child support from a man who made it clear he did not want to be there. Others are saying, but guys, we're all adults. You knew what you were doing when you were doing what you were doing. As it stands, obviously, in South Africa, our laws are as follows. It is a woman's prerogative to decide if she'd like to terminate or not. Meaning that when a woman is carrying the child of a man, he cannot have a say, as in, yes, depending what your relationship is, he can share his opinion, but there is nothing he can do to compel the woman to terminate. That also means there is nothing he can do when the woman comes forward to ask for child support. There currently is no system in place, unless I'm not aware of it, where a man is supposed to, can say, I want to opt out. Even if the woman commits to say, I'm going to do this on my own, she is able, there is legal recourse available to her. Now, I'm going to get my colleague to share his views, but I want to hear all of yours first. Should there be recourse for a man if he makes it clear that he does not want the child? And what would those circumstances look like? Like, should there be conditions if a man says, well, I don't want the kid? Like, when should he have expressed, I don't want the kid? Before doing the deed or after the deed? If government said, now you can go and get this document signed that releases you of any single legal obligation, financial obligation to this future child because you said it, what should those conditions be? Or are you of the view that if you did not want a child, you should not have even put yourself in a position to make one? I know men and women will have completely differing opinions here. I was surprised at some of the comments, because I had to ask myself, if a friend came to me and expressed her situation, what would I advise her to do? If she said, honestly, it was an accident, it was a mistake, we were careless, I personally don't believe in termination, and this man has sent me money to terminate, he's blocked me everywhere, but I'm choosing to continue with the pregnancy, which many women do choose to do, where they don't even bother chasing the man. They don't even bother, to the point that they don't even reveal his identity. There are many families that have women in the household or in the family that have absolutely no idea the identity of the father of said child. And there are those that argue, why should I have a responsibility for a child that I said I don't want? I told her I don't want the child. Not only did I tell her, I also sent the money for a termination. Or are you of the view that men should be able to opt out? If a woman has the right to choose to keep a baby or to terminate one, because the opposite is also true. If she is pregnant and decides to terminate and that man wants to keep the child, he can't force her legally to carry the child. So should men have the same type of reproductive choices and rights as women when it comes to these types of situations? 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
And there you go, your favorite latte, hot and ready.
You never disappoint.
Listen, did you see that email? God, it's going down. Let's catch up later. Got another Zoom meeting.
Oh, okay, cool. Later.
Meet our audience. They are working, living their lives, sharing stories, and always listening. So if you're going to interrupt them, it better be good. Prime Media Broadcasting Sales. We help you connect with every productive, innovative, and dynamic individual in our audience. From the open plan office to the executive suite. Contact us at advertise@primemedia.co.za today.
At the heart of global conversations shaping our future, Africa's voice is more important than ever. As proud lead sponsor of the B20, the Standard Bank Group is honored to showcase the continent's growth, partnerships, and potential on the world stage. Because driving Africa's growth isn't just our ambition, it's our purpose. Tune in every Monday from 3 p.m. for the Standard Bank B20 in brief for key insights and updates around the B20. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
Unfold extraordinary with the brand new Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7 5G 512 gig. Get it on a 6 gig Red Core plan from 1,749 per month over 36 months and double your storage with Vodacom, Zanzi's winning 5G network. Enhance your deal. Add 149 extra per month and get the Galaxy Watch 8 eSIM and Galaxy Buds 3. Available in-store and online. T's and C's apply. Further together, Vodacom.
Tip your way to glory in the Hollywood Bets Punters Challenge, the free-to-play horse racing game with daily cash giveaways and massive jackpot prizes. Pick all the winners on the race card and you could win 100,000 Rand. Bet 50 Rand or more on your selections using the Bet Slip feature and you could walk away with 1 million Rand. Visit punterschallenge.hollywoodbets.net today and tip your way to the top. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008.
Franchise your future with the vision to invest, the mindset to follow a proven system, and the drive to grow something of your own. Meet the minds behind smart investments and proven franchise success on Franchise Your Future with Relebogile Mabotja, brought to you by Cash Converters on 702. Plus, you could win 10,000 Rand to kickstart your journey to franchise your future. Head primemediaplus.com now. Then, every Tuesday from 1 p.m, catch Franchise Your Future on Afternoons with me, Relebogile Mabotja, brought to you by Cash Converters. Your money, your momentum on 702. Let's walk the talk.
702 Afternoons
with Relebogile Mabotja.
19 minutes after 1 o'clock, and we are chatting about reproductive rights in South Africa and if men should be afforded the same ones as women, as in if a woman is able to decide to terminate, or let me simplify, if a woman is able to decide to keep or not keep the baby, should a man be afforded the same rights as her? So the scenario is a woman is sharing the story of how her cousin is pregnant. The man went and said, listen, I don't want that child. Here's money for termination. Blocked her everywhere. She is choosing to go ahead with the child. So under what circumstances should a man be allowed, if any, to opt out and say, but I said, I told you, the law should not allow you to come after me if you've made that decision. And that would apply vice versa, where should there be circumstances where a man can say, I really want to keep the child. You want to terminate, but I want to keep the child. 011 883 702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 and 702. We go to Tembe. Ke Tembegile kapa Tembegele in Sunning Hill.
It's Tembegile.
Nice to meet you, Tembegile. Go ahead.
Hi, Relebogile. My view is that a man has got a choice, a very big choice up front. He can withhold his seed and not give it, abstain, protect himself, even withdraw, right? After that, once he's given his seed, I believe that he has, at that moment, absolved all accountability for what happens to that seed. Especially if he believes he has a choice to give her money to terminate. Termination comes with consequences which are either spiritual, emotional, or even physical. And he will not be held accountable for those. So he should not have an opportunity to make decisions over things that he cannot do anything if things were to go wrong. The owner of the body has got accountability. If she chooses to and something goes wrong, it's her choice. And she will suffer the consequences physically, emotionally, and otherwise. And secondly, if the baby is born when he says, I chose not to, actually, that child, I would like to believe that, cannot be held accountable to the decisions of the parents, in as much as life does, right? if the moment you give away your seed, you should understand you've given away. So we need to teach our children and men to understand that actually you have so much accountability you can actually withhold, and nobody will take it away from you. But once you've given, you have actually let go. At that point, you have let go of all responsibility, not responsibility, actually choice about what happens to that seed. That's my view.
All right. Thank you so much, Tembekile, for that. Do me in Midrand. Go ahead.
Hello, everybody.
Yes.
Personally, I feel okay with the experience now. When a woman says I'm pregnant, and the man says I don't want to be part of this pregnancy, I think the best thing they should do nowadays is to sign a document that says he doesn't want to do anything with the pregnancy. And then on the side of the woman, the decision to terminate also. I think we need to tell these women that you need to be aware of the consequences. We never knew of spiritual impacts that most people suffer at a later stage. You go through so much and you find out is the child you terminated when you didn't know that termination comes with so many spiritual impacts in our life. But I believe when a man says, I don't want the child, don't force the person. You can't force love because that child will go through so much hell. Because the relationship is either going to be transactional, where that man at a later stage will have a family, and this child has to observe the children on the other side, living a life that he or she wishes to live, because she's been forced into that relationship, and that man will never change. So we must start understanding that our battles are different between men and women. Once you fall pregnant, there are so many consequences for a woman. Once you force the child into the man, there is also so many consequences. I'll give you a quick example.
Can I quickly ask you a question to me before you give the example? So, based on what you're saying, ne, can one not argue and say, well, men and women do have the same reproductive rights in the sense that you both have access to contraceptives? If anything, men have more access because the protection was initially designed for them. So if that be the case, that means that right at the beginning, you had the choice, but you chose not to, meaning you gave up your right.
Nowadays, there is protection, there is condoms and everything else. But if we go back to how things used to be, the responsibility to protect yourself not to be pregnant, it used to be mainly for the women. If you go back in history, it used to be mainly for the women.
So if you're speaking on the basis of that, let's bring it to current times where there's contraceptives. The ones that are more accessible are the ones for men in the sense of condoms, even though women also have the option to take oral or injection. Conversation for another day. But if you are saying men should be able to sign a contract, if somebody comes and gives the argument to say, but by virtue of you planting that seed, meant you were committing already to there being something that is going to be harvested in 9 months.
Like I said before, there is a lot of things that happen now in life that we need to be informed. For an example, women go through so many diseases, and when you go back, it's contraceptive. So most of the people also opt not to use them because they are aware of what happens with them in future. Most men, most women also, the condom is not comfortable. Some women will say, I have thrush, I have a smell after, and all those things. I have to use douche. So there are so many reasons why some people will choose not to have multiple partners, have one partner, but the one partner says, look, I'm not ready to start a family right now. I'm 27, I feel I want a baby, but the guy says, I'm 28, but I'm not ready for the child.
And
So
I hear you, to me, and I think let me give others an opportunity. I hear what you're saying. There are multiple reasons why a person might not be able to use contraception. Abstinence is also an option if you really don't want children, just as a thought. Here are some of your voice notes on 0727021702.
Hi, Relebogile. Whatever circumstances, disagreements transpired before the child's birth cannot negate the father's responsibility towards this child. The father is responsible because the child did not choose to be born. At the end of the day, he can have whatever issues he has with the mother, but the child is innocent in this case and deserves the financial support of his or her father. Simple as that.
Yeah, very interesting subject you've got on the radio now. I think that men should have equal rights to women, and the bottom line is if you don't want a baby, use a contraceptive. Thank you. Bye.
Good afternoon, 702. Good afternoon, Relebogile. I think it's unfair. I think both the male and the female must have equal rights, because sometimes you tell the girl that I don't want a child, and then she says, I relax, I won't get pregnant. Jiggy, the person is pregnant now. Jiggy, now you have to be a father. Sometimes you say, no, please, let's keep the child. And then the girl says, no, I don't want it. And then she terminates the child. I don't think it's fair. As we speak now, some of us are held accountable at maintenance court because of children that they did not accept.
Karabachali, you have a view on this?
Sure, I'm not so in the same WhatsApp page with that caller or that WhatsApp voice note. It's unacceptable. Yes, when you go into bed with a woman, you know exactly what you're doing as a man. You're an adult. Things don't just create out of thin air. So if you're going to go have that unprotected sex, you know very well automatically you're making a baby. And then you must just take accountability of that. And at the end of the day, it's the woman's choice. If the woman wants to keep the baby, so be it. If she wants to get rid of it, so be it. When as a man, you must just take that accountability of your actions and say, I'm going to be with you whatever decision you make. Simple as that.
So are you saying if a man doesn't want a baby, he mustn't plant a seed?
Yes, simple as that.
You're making it so obvious, but let's say then we say mistakes happen.
There's no mistakes. Even if you're having unprotected sex, those protections are not 100%. They tell you the condoms are not 100%.
Yeah.
Preventions are not 100%. The minute you have sex, you are making a baby, baba. And you must just know you are making a baby. And whatever the woman decides, it's not up to you. You just have to man up.
So if he says, here's the money, get rid of it, don't come back to me later, don't take me to court, I'm going to make you sign something.
That's invalid. At the end of the day, it is your DNA.
It's just after 1:30. Time for your latest Eyewitness News headlines. Good afternoon.
Thanks, Relebogile. Good afternoon. Tensions remain high in Pimville, Soweto, where a taxi has now been torched. This happened just meters away from Mabotja Mall, where groups of community members have been protesting since this morning. According to eyewitness accounts, there was a mob which chased after a taxi which was driving slowly through the barricaded road today. Last night, 2 e-hailing vehicles were torched outside the mall, with one driver being killed during that incident. An investigation is underway into the cause of an accident which has left 1 police officer and 5 inmates dead. They died while travelling to Naboomspruit in Limpopo today. Provincial police say 11 inmates were in the vehicle and they were being transported from a local police station to court. And members of the ad hoc committee investigating police corruption have raised concerns about the quality of legal advice it will receive from Parliament. They are now demanding Parliament's chief legal advisor to be present at the meetings instead of deploying someone from her office. The committee held its second meeting today to finalize its terms of reference. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 2 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this stage, there's slow-moving traffic. This is heading towards Bedford View. Actually, you can expect heavy delays heading towards Bedford View. This is in the Edenvale area, R24 westbound, between Edenvale Road and the Kilulis interchange. Otherwise, the rest of 702 land, I must say, not looking too bad. No serious accidents have been reported. However, we're still keeping an eye in the Pinville area. I see Chris Honey Road is closed off to traffic. That's opposite Mabotja Mall due to those protests that are still going on. Look out for those faulty traffic lights in the Rand Park Ridge area. At Bayers Nordia and the N1 North, traffic lights also not working in Alex and Marlborough Drive and Far East Bank. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
An e-hailing service driver met his death as he dropped off a passenger at Mabotja Mall in what's believed to be part of a long-running feud between e-hailing drivers and local taxi operators. It happens, they've sent the message, and it does appear as if you're scared to do anything about it as this government.
We're really not scared of them. The taxi industry must understand that we are in a democratic country, and that's why we believe that we must bring all parties on the table.
MEC for Roads and Transport in Gauteng, Kiribone Diale Habele.
Gani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Did you know that the CSIR International Convention Center has over 40 years experience in hosting international, local and national business events? Located on a tranquil campus in Pretoria East within the knowledge hub and science diplomacy capital, the city of Tshwane. This fit-for-purpose convention center is ideal for your association, congress, or other business events. For more information, visit csiricc.co.za. The CSIR International Convention Center, where smart minds meet.
Betway is taking you to dizzying new heights in one of the world's most popular games, Aviator. Place your bets and watch the multiplier climb higher and higher. Pick the right time to cash out and stand to win millions on a single bet. It's all possible from the palm of your hand. Get way more only at Betway. Betway is licensed and regulated by the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board. No persons under the age of 18 are permitted to gamble. South African Responsible Gambling Program toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Winners know when to stop.
Dear Journal, day 3049 of trying to be an adult. I still haven't bought a recycling bin, so there's a mountain of cans in my kitchen that could collapse at any moment. Anyway, what's that saying about your home being a reflection of your mental state?
Got evicted from the family home? Get covered at pineapple.co.za. It's like 570 Rand a month, so it's 100% the insurance for you. Underwritten by Old Mutual Alternative Risk Transfer Insurer Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP. Premiums are risk profile dependent.
Your voice.
Your life.
Your afternoon radio.
On 702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Mabotja.
24 minutes to 2 o'clock. We continue on our conversation around reproductive rights for men and women. Should they be the same? If a woman chooses to keep a baby after the man has said, nope, don't want it, here's the money, go terminate, should he be able to opt out? Should there be a legal opportunity for him to opt out? There is the view that says the law is unfair the way that it is. A man can't opt out. And then there is the view that is shared, for example, by my colleague Karabo, who says, when you are getting ready to do that deed, you are opting in. That is it. You no longer have a say, even if it is a mistake. That child is half of your DNA. 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 and 702. Here are some of your WhatsApp messages. All right, Lebo, I'll keep it clean. A man can't opt out. He should have pulled out instead, if you know what I mean. That's Mongezi. Afternoon, Relebogile. We need to remember that the conditions under which she fell pregnant are not listed. I support keeping the baby. We'll cross the river when we get there. That is from Gogo. Lebo, she must keep the child and don't contact him ever again. He, the provider, God will do so. Hi, Relebogile, love the topic. I'm a father of 2. My firstborn child was born via forced circumstances. Having had agreed that both parties don't want kids, I was forced into parenthood to step up and man up. When my daughter turned 4 years old, I forcefully took her and raised her myself on my own. She's now 17. I still say I was not ready, mentally and emotionally. Financially, I was and still am okay. Mother contributes nothing. Interesting. Good afternoon, Lebo and your team. Great topic. And personally, I think I would be good. I think I would be good things for men to enjoy the same rights. Okay, I hear you. And another one says, afternoon, Relebogile. Consider a situation where a young man has a one-night stand or just something. Yeah, I can't use all language on radio, then impregnates the woman. If the woman goes on to have the baby without telling the guy, is it okay for her to come back years later, springing the surprise and claiming maintenance when the guy is now married with a family? I think not. In this egalitarian modern world, a man should have similar reproductive rights with regards to having the baby. Farai, be honest. So you're going to plant a seed and then be shocked years later that there's a tree. For reals? Let's go to the lines. Tasneem in Randburg. Hi.
Hi. This topic is like an onion. The more you layer it, peel the layers, the more you want to cry. And it's a very hot topic.
Right.
Sorry, the analogy fits the topic, I think. This is my view, right? Yes, we all should have equal rights, but I feel we all are adults. And anyone knows, whether it's a woman or man, you are responsible for your own protection. Have a child, then you don't want to have a child, take the protection. Yes, there are times when you take a protection and it still happens. Then I think be adult about it and you know what, decide. Because to leave it up to one person to say go and terminate the pregnancy, I think people need to understand the consequences of that, and emotional and psychological consequences, which means you are intentionally going to go walk into that clinic and going to kill that fetus, like you are going to kill a life. I think people need to take a moment to sink that thought in. It is a very heavy burden to carry. And no matter what counseling you go for, I don't think a guilt can ever go away. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you so much. I saw a message that was asking about the proof of spiritual consequences of termination. Maybe that's something we must explore. I can't find the message right now, but I think that's definitely something we need to explore. Here are more of your voice notes on 072-702-1702.
Good day, House Relebogile. This is Tsepo. I believe in Jakonje, gave me the spirit. Yeah, sure. Listen, my sister, after you read what you read and said what you said, I just saw one thing, that we men do not have any rights here. All our rights are taken, brah. We like eggless, chickenless. Everything that he said is like Rebecca Pirunanje. We have a landlord, maybe saying the lady who does do what he wants at what time and what. We don't have any right. I think this one we should take it to the constitutional court.
Good day, Relebogile. Yeah, I think men must also have full rights. Yeah, they must be given that choice to say, no, I'm not ready to be a father. And by so doing, they need to protect themselves. You can't have unprotected sex and then turn around and say, I wasn't ready for a child. And number two, also sex must be regulated by the government. You must have Section 13 of 2025 of sexual relationships, whereby a man can sue you for trapping them using pregnancy and stuff like that. Yeah, so it is what it is. Thanks, Anonymous.
Anonymous, thank you for that. I think that's interesting. So a man should be able to sue you for trapping them. How are you going to prove that you were trapped? Unless you were sexually assaulted, how are you going to choose that you were trapped? That's a very interesting one. Faith in Pretoria, you've got a view. Go ahead. Yes.
I just want us to look at the aspects of the unborn child. I am of the view that when we make these decisions, we don't think about the child that's coming. What am I going to tell her as the mother to say, no, your dad didn't want you and you cannot be in contact with that. Then I raise a child who's bitter, who thinks they are unwanted. So in everything we do, we must also think about that life that we are creating. So in essence, if the dad says no, I think the child should be terminated, because we can't go on raising bitter children and children who thought they were unwanted.
So
that
then,
is my take.
Let me ask you a question, Faith. I've met many women who have birthed children that are products of sexual assault, that they don't believe in termination, or the circumstances put them in a position where they did not have a choice. So using that scenario of thinking about the child and what you're going to tell them, right? How do you deal with that situation?
You see, as a mother, I believe that whatever I choose, I should be able to justify it to my child. If they are of sexual abuse and I decided to tell them that, I must be also willing to take the emotional whatever damage or challenges that the child would have, to say, your dad, I don't know him, he raped me, but I choose to love you by myself. And however the child takes it, me as the mother should be able to say, I will roll with my child, whatever it is, and make that okay. But if, as the mother, I'm not able to say that, and I let my child now be a psychologically damaged child, it's unfair on it.
All right.
So whatever a mother chooses, they must know that whatever choice they make, they will be able to help their child through that choice and not blame anyone.
Thank you so much, Faith from Pretoria. Hi, Relebogile. A man should have a vasectomy or use a condom if he does not want a child, because women also take birth control if they do not want children. They cannot just say abort. That is not easy. There are too many things involved. That's from Mulalo. High level, I've seen in other people's experiences that sometimes once the baby's born, the father has a change of heart. It's possible that the boyfriend might also change his mind and choose to be involved in the baby's life. That's Mahashri there. Another person says, I think it is time that the government now brings a means test in allowing a pregnancy, and most of all limiting the number of children to 2 per woman. Thereafter, mandatory sterilization. This will greatly reduce unwanted pregnancy, which women seem to hanker after keeping the child anyways. From Godwin. Godwin, I hope this solution of yours is sterilizing the men, because why is this scenario limiting children to 2 per woman? A woman can have only 2 children a year. A man can have 5 children a day if he wanted to. So your plan about sterilizing women, like, come on, come up with something better. Hi, Relebogile, I've been stuck in a relationship for 16 years with only one 15-year-old daughter. The mother always terminated, expecting to give me another child after buying or building her a house. During lockdown, I gave myself a lockdown and got a son outside, but she doesn't love him at all. But also, like, what did you expect? Like, sir, Ash, I don't know what to say to you. Anonymous says, I know of a dude who sent his side money to terminate. She threw a baby shower with that money and now he is divorced. True story. Lebo, I was in the same situation of my then boyfriend, which suggested I terminate, but I chose to keep the child, now 27-year-old man. I had no job. I had just completed my diploma. Today, he's the same guy bragging about the same child, now an engineer. An engineer doing well for himself. I went in and out of court for support. I won't, by the way. He paid the school fees reluctantly. Now, he wishes he had married me in the first place. Ha ha ha. He is single in his mid-50s and staying with his mom. Guys, every single time we come up with a discussion, I never expect some of the things that you share. Relebogile, men must go for family planning as well. Period. Prevention is better. Relebogile, contraceptives are not 100%. A lot of people fall pregnant while on contraceptives. Men must take responsibility, full stop. Hi, Relebogile, if she keeps the baby will be her responsibility alone. She must do what she wants for herself. My daughter turned 10 years old on Monday, and the father said he did not want a child when I informed him about the pregnancy, and he has never been there, not even seen the child nor provided for her, and I've left him alone because he did say that he does not want the child. Oh, another one. When confronted by the abortion by his mom, he told her I was a one-night incident, and he hated this boy all of his life until he grew up to a fine young man. Now he wants to travel with him everywhere. Never trust this gender. Yo, guys, what is it that ABC we learned in school, ne? A is for abstinence. Yeah? A is for abstinence. Therefore, if you don't want, don't plant. I just made that up. Thank you so much for all of your messages, calls, and voice notes.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6.
Good news for the cement sector, the construction lumber sector, the steel sector, and possibly the transport sector. There may be others as well. And might we start seeing, as construction ticks upwards, at least some either job stability or hopefully new jobs in those areas of our economy?
It's a benefit not only for the construction sector, but for the entire value chain. So you will see a lot of demand for various supplies that we use in the construction sector.
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
At the heart of global conversations shaping the future, Africa's voice matters more than ever. As Africa's largest bank by assets and lead sponsor of the B20 Summit, Standard Bank Group is proud to spotlight the continent's growth, partnerships, and potential on the world stage. Through informed dialogue and powerful partnerships, Standard Bank is driving sustainable growth where it matters most. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
This September, Joburg Theatre brings you a powerful mix of drama, music, and dance. Dancing the Death Drill, adapted from Fred Khumalo's acclaimed novel, tells the tale of Pito Mutaung, a South African soldier forever changed by the tragic sinking of the SS Mendi. The cast features Kwenzo Ngobo, Tuli Tabete, and Clint Brink, with choreography by Luyanda Sidia and original music by Msaki. This is a story of love, loss, and remembrance. Catch it from 9 to 28 September 2025 on the Mandela stage at Joburg Theatre. Dancing the Death Drill, a moment in history brought to life. Book now at joburgtheatre.com.
Year in, year out, we're fixing tires faster than a Formula One pit crew. My team is on top of things like tire whisperers. If an unforeseen accident were to happen in my workshop, at least I've got My Way business insurance to keep the wheels turning.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
702.
Belief matters.
Exploring culture, traditions, religion,
and the beliefs that shape our world.
9 minutes to 2 o'clock, time for our Belief Matters feature. Today we are talking about the belief in the power of crystals and what does it all mean. We're joined by Amy Ann Atkinson, energy healing therapist and practitioner. Your questions and comments 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. Amy, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Relebogile. Thanks for having me back. I really enjoyed chatting to you.
Thank you. Let's jump into the conversation around crystals and their powers.
Yes, let's do it.
Where would you say this has begun, just in the sense that From what I have seen, that the concept of crystals and powers is not unique to the West or, the East.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think indigenous traditions and Eastern and all of those beliefs had something going. I think that they were lived closer to the earth, closer to, the ebbs and flows of Mother Nature. And I think if trees come from the ground and they provide oxygen, and water comes from the ground and water provides hydration and all those minerals, why can't crystals provide us something that can benefit us and heal us?
Okay, so when then we look at what the power of crystals are, can you give us some examples of what their powers are?
I think powers is maybe too powerful a word. I think they're more like a tool, and they have at different frequencies that can help us because we resonate at different frequencies. If you believe in the chakra system and various points in our body that emanate different frequencies, then crystals can match those frequencies and elevate certain frequencies that are maybe not vibrating where they should do. It can also clear spaces. There's also references dating back in the Bible of people using crystals. So I feel like it's a great tool that one can add into your daily life, into your current belief systems, if that makes sense.
Can we start with some of the most common ones? I mean, I've heard that crystals can be used to help with healing, with balancing of energy. Some people use them for protection, or some people use them for clarity and focus. And when we use the name of the crystal, can you just remind us of the color? I think the one we've seen quite a lot of are the rose quartz.
Oh yeah, rose quartz are really good. That resonates with the heart frequency. So you want to look at the ones that resonate with the basic chakra system to start off with. So if you want to go with the root chakra, you want to look at red. If you want to go even lower than that for grounding and protection, you want to look at black crystals or brown crystals. And then if you want to look at the womb area and creativity and emotions, then you're going to look at orange. If you want to look at helping you do stuff and be proactive and be good in business and stuff like that, you want to look at the yellow crystal. I would say focus on looking at the colors before the names, because the names, will come later, but you want to look at the frequencies and the colors. Light blue is for expression, self-expression, also for listening and hearing, communication. Dark blue is for intuition and guidance. And then the whites and the purples are for connection to source, whatever that may be for you. So those would be your basic starting points.
So what would you need to do with these crystals for them to be used? Is it wearing them? Is it keeping them in your house, in your car? What do you do with them?
So all of the above. Different crystals will have different uses. Sometimes it's great to keep it on your body if you're looking for physical healing and emotional healing. If you're looking for things like protection, you can put them around your house and your garden. You can also wear the ones for protection as well. There is one that makes you invisible to thieves, and that's garnet. So that you can keep in your car, you can keep in your handbag. So yeah, there's little tips and tricks that are endless when you go into the crystal world. So I would say, depending on what the crystal is and what you want to use it for, there's various ways to use them.
What is your response to people who believe that crystals are superstitious?
So, we all have access to everything, and we also all have freedom of choice. So, each to his own. But, like I said, if they come from the earth and they grow in the ground, so do vegetables, so do plants, what's to say that there isn't something to it that a crystal can't, benefit us and help us on our journey?
Okay, and final thoughts for all of the listeners who are curious about crystals. What can you share with them?
So I would say give it a try. Go into a crystal store, go with the intention of, being shown exactly which crystal is right for you right now, and then see what you're excited about, see what you're drawn to. Or a lot of crystal stores have a deck of cards or a book that you can kind of like choose a page, close your eyes and choose a page or choose a card. And then some people say that crystal will be best for you at that moment, and then just feel it and see if you can feel into what is available for you.
Thank you so much, Amy, for chatting to us in our Belief Matters feature. We really appreciate your contributions to the show. And if there's any other topic you want to bring to the Belief Matters feature, 702 afternoons at 702.co.za.
This week on Polytricking with Sidi Madia.
What's the best way for our electoral system to be?
In South Africa, we don't have very rigid requirements of anyone who becomes a parliament.
That's part of the problem.
If the party likes you and you have been a good member of a party, maybe you sing well, whatever you do, those are the changes we must make. Don't blame us for having done it that way, because we copied from others. But we didn't know that this system will not suit our particular context. And that is why now we have more poor people.
Dr. Brigelia Bam.
Listen to the full episode on primemediaplus.com. Polytricking with Sidi Madia on EWN. In touch, in tune, and independent.
The sizzle, the aroma, the perfect cut. Your steakhouse nails it every time. It's the place for celebrations, end-of-week rewards, or just a craving that needs the best. From service to flavor, they deliver every time. Now's your chance to say, I see you. Vote for your favorite in Gauteng's greatest steakhouse category at primemediaplus.com. Voting closes 27 August. Make it count, because Gauteng isn't just the hub of business, it's the hub of excellence. And excellence deserves your applause. Gauteng's greatest awards with 702, powered by Yoko.
Do you know what's hiding behind the colorful packaging of unhealthy food? Big food companies target children with unhealthy packaged foods that hide high levels of sugar, salt, and fat, which could lead to heart disease, diabetes, and hypertension. But the truth is hidden from consumers. Front of package warning labels are a proven solution to help consumers make informed decisions. The government must act now. We have the right to know what's in our food. Demand front of package warning labels. Sign the petition on heala.org, HEALA.org, by the 30th of September.
Dear Journal, trying to be an adult day 3731. I'm really struggling to explain my parents to my therapist. Might send him to live with them so he can see for himself. What if he ends up in therapy too? Wait, what if they love him more than me?
Finally learning about mental health. Get covered at pineapple.co.za. It's convenient and like 19 Rand a day, so it's 100% the insurance for you. Underwritten by Old Mutual Alternative Risk Transfer Insurer Limited, licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP. Premiums are risk profile dependent.
This Eyewitness News report is brought to you by Momentum. You have the algorithm. Now own your success. Register for Season 7 at sohs2025.co.za. It's 2 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. The Gauteng Transport Department is appealing for calm following taxi-related violence in Pimville, Soweto. MEC Gidiboni Diale-Tlhabela has been briefing the media at Mabotja Mall today, where an e-hailing driver was killed last night. This morning, the MEC held a meeting with members of the local taxi association, as well as e-hailing operators, to try and find a solution to the ongoing feud. At the same time, angry community members have accused government of dragging its feet in solving this issue. As a result, the community has shut down operations at the normally busy Mabotja Mall. It's also understood that a taxi was set alight by an angry mob just hours ago. Jabulile Mbata reports.
The eyewitnesses, who are afraid to speak to the media, allege the driver of the taxi was forcefully removed from the vehicle. The suspects then allegedly took money left in the vehicle before setting it alight. The incident occurred while protesters outside the mall are complaining that the MEC of Transport has not addressed them or the family.
They're letting us down. They know this issue. That is the most useless department of transport because of they are doing nothing. This thing is all over. And what are they doing? Nothing.
The police's forensic teams are currently on site. Relebogile Mabotja, Eyewitness News, Soweto.
An investigation is underway into the cause of an accident which left one police officer and 5 inmates dead. They died while travelling to Boomspruit in Limpopo today. Provincial police say 11 inmates were in the vehicle and they were being transported from the Mokopane police station to court. The rest of the inmates have been taken to a nearby hospital for treatment. Spokesperson Hlulani Mashaba.
Meanwhile, 7 inmates were injured and transported to hospital to receive medical attention. Our heartfelt condolences to the families of both the officer and inmates.
To this now, members of the ad hoc committee investigating police corruption have raised concerns about the quality of legal advice the committee will be receiving from Parliament. They are now demanding Parliament's chief legal advisor be present at the meetings instead of deploying someone from her office. The committee held its second meeting today to finalise its terms of reference. These will guide the committee as it investigates allegations made by KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Babalondenze reports.
The ad hoc committee's second meeting got off to a rocky start, with members from most parties questioning the legal advice. Members also insisted that Parliament Chief Legal Advisor Zureya Adhikari be present after she missed the meeting of the Joint Committees of Police and Justice and the ad hoc committee's first meeting. Committee member Sibonelo Nomvalo says the senior legal advisor must handle the committee, questioning the standard of the advice they've received.
So that we do not get into a point where we get confused because of legal advices which are wrong.
ANC Chief Whip Mdumiseni Nduli agreed that the committee must be prioritized so it gets the best legal assistance.
I think the broader question that arises from the observation made by Honorable Nomvalo is the quality of the legal services that we are expecting.
Adhikari assured members that they are working as a team and one of the most efficient legal advisors has been deployed to the committee. Babalo Ndanza, Eyewitness News.
In the courts now, former Apartheid-era cop Johan Murray has filed an application for leave to appeal his sentence. Murray was recently sentenced to 15 years behind bars for killing anti-apartheid activist Caiphus Inyoka. On the 24th of August in 1987, Murray, along with his colleagues, fatally shot Inyoka multiple times inside his Davidton home. Murray was charged alongside his 3 other colleagues and he pleaded guilty to the charges. Thandoluhle reports.
Last month, the Pretoria High Court sentenced Johan Murray to 15 years direct imprisonment for the 1987 killing of Caiphus Inyoka, a prominent student leader and anti-apartheid activist in the East Rand. During sentencing, Murray told the court that he committed the offence 37 years ago under the instructions of the apartheid regime. He further asked the court for a sentence of correctional supervision because of his age, medical condition, and that he showed remorse for his actions. When handing down the sentence, Judge Papi Mosap agreed with the state that Murray lacked genuine remorse and therefore found that the sentence given was fitting for the crimes committed. Murray's leave application will be heard back at the Pretoria High Court tomorrow. Thandoluhle Ngcobo, Eyewitness News.
And an American fugitive who faked his death and fled to Britain to avoid prosecution is now facing a potential life sentence. Nicholas Rossi was found guilty yesterday for the rape of a woman in Salt Lake County in 2008. Rossi was under investigation for credit card fraud when he faked his own death in 2020. He then caught the attention of the British press in 2021 when he was arrested in the COVID ward of a hospital in Scotland. Staff recognized his mugshot from an Interpol wanted notice and they reported him to the police. The 38-year-old will be sentenced in October and faces 5 years to life behind bars. He also still faces another trial for an alleged rape in Utah County, which is scheduled for September. Gold is trading at $3,356.64 an ounce. The rand is at 17.56 to the dollar, 23.84 to the pound, 20.52 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $65.63 a barrel.
Traveling through Alexandra, heading towards Germiston, there's slow-moving traffic N3 southbound. This is between the Marlborough Drive and the Morafontein Road off-ramp. Also slow-moving traffic in the Edenvale area. This is traveling towards Bedford View R24 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Gilulis interchange.
It's a fine afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of 24 degrees. The top story in EWN, the Gauteng Transport Department is appealing for calm following taxi-related violence in Pimville, Soweto.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
They say the early bird catches the worm. Great advice, unless you're the worm. Generic so-called wisdom doesn't work for everyone, so I settle for a financial plan that's one size fits some. Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to get to really know your unique situation. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
You're with Relebogile Mabotja.
Live, streaming countrywide
On the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
8 minutes after 2 o'clock, the second and final hour of 7:02 afternoons. With me, Relebogile Mabotja, and we're going to be getting into it. We're going to be chatting firstly about Momentum Season 7. She owns her success. Make sure you stay tuned because we'll be joined by Masechaba Kokolo, who is an insights lead for research and reporting. But not just that, we're going to talk about this year's She Owns Her Success campaign and what we'll be doing in this masterclass series. Then we wrap up with another important conversation this Women's Month, and that is around the invisible barriers that women with disabilities face in South Africa, particularly in South Africa. I know we think we are inclusive, but how inclusive are we? How accommodating are we as a country? We'll be joined by Luni Nkwani, who's qualified in public relations and call center training and lives with osteogenesis imperfecta, which we know commonly as brittle bones. And she will be here to share her experiences and journey. Get in touch with us. Give us a call. 011 883 0702. SMS us 31702. Tweet at Relebogile M, at Radio 702 using the hashtag 702 afternoons, and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
702.
The Clement Maniatela Show.
It is the Relebogile Mabotja situation with 702 afternoons. Now we are chatting to Momentum about Season 7 of their She Owns Her Success workshop right here on 702. And we're joined by someone who is passionate about helping women own their success and who's here to unpack the hidden forces shaping our personal and financial journeys. Masechaba Kokolo joins us to talk about Momentum Season 7, She Owns Her Success campaign. I Have the Algorithm. It's all about recognizing women as the original problem solvers, the architects whose intuition, instinct, and invisible labor keep the world moving. We'll also explore fresh insights from her study of over 2,000 South African women on the barriers they face and the codes that they have cracked. Masechaba, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Relebogile. It's wonderful to be here.
I am so curious about the research that you've done with over 2,000 South African women that has uncovered some powerful insights about their journey to success. Can you talk to us about that particular research and maybe some of the standout stories?
Absolutely. I mean, I think just to start off by speaking about why we did the research in the first place, is often research with women is being conducted in, global markets such as UK and US. And we found some of the insights there weren't as relevant to what we experience here in South Africa. So in conducting this representative study of women in South Africa, one of the more interesting insights we found was that women really have a collective that they take care of, right? We've got 56% of women being responsible for other people in their lives, which means as they navigate their own future and building their own growth, they're not just doing it for themselves, but doing that for their immediate community and those loved ones around them. And when we look at our current campaign, She Owns Her Success, Season 7, it's really about unpacking what is it that drives women to have this programming, right? As women, from an early age, we're conditioned to take care of other people, to anticipate the needs of others, to smooth edges, keep things running, for example, helping, stepping in, having the plan. We're always looked to as the people to have the answer. And really what we're saying this season of She Owns Her Success and of Women's Month is that women have the algorithm, right? We have that invisible code. We have that programming that, as we rise in our success, runs deeper in our in the way that we move and the strides that we make. So, yeah, when I think about some of the exciting things about the study, I think it is always reinforced about how women show up, especially in a South African context, for their community and those who love them.
So when you say this invisible code, how do these findings reveal these particular invisible codes of success that women are busy navigating today?
So some of the findings that we have around the invisible code, I think, more specifically looking at what it is that women do and say when it comes to what they believe what success looks like, right? So we've got 81% of women saying for them success looks like confidence. So a confident woman is a successful woman. They say, financial independence is the thing that you need to have in order to be successful. While they believe this and they say it is important, they are putting their energy and effort into things that don't correlate with that reality. So we find that they're putting energy and effort into building into creating well-being, health and well-being for themselves, into increasing their spirituality, into even education to a certain extent. But why is it that women feel like, I know what the right thing is to do, but I would prefer to spend my energy and effort into something else? And what the research further unpacks is that 39% of women feel like their main barrier to success is self-doubt.
Ooh.
So we've got 81% of women who are here clear that success is confidence. But on the other side, they know that if I am to achieve that success, one of the main barriers I need to overcome is my own self-doubt. How do we have that kind of thing happening? And it really is about carrying that invisible code, carrying that invisible load. We're so busy taking care of other people that we fail to stop and pause and actually think about how we're taking care of ourselves, what it is that we need to know, what tools we need to deploy in our own lives to be able to achieve and do the things we know are important and do the things that we know will lead us to the successful lives that we want for ourselves.
That is so interesting and also just powerful to know, because I'm sure that resonates with so many of our listeners. Now, one of the key findings is that women see financial independence as the ultimate marker of success, yet many feel far from it. So what are those hidden or invisible barriers holding women back from that particular goal?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think, to unpack it further and the role that momentum plays in this role of advice, right, is that if we have women who can see that financial independence is important, but don't have the tools, they don't have the confidence, and they don't have the advice to achieve it, how can we infiltrate that, right? How can we intercept it, rather, and be able to help these women achieve the success that they're looking for? So with this current campaign, in terms of having the algorithm, we are very intent on giving them those tools, on being able to identify how you achieve your financial independence, on highlighting to women that financial independence isn't something that is reserved for the wealthy, right? It isn't something that you only start to address when you reach a certain threshold of income. It is something that you can start to combat and figure out at any income level, right? It's about getting the right advice, getting the right financial advice from an accredited financial advisor to be able to show you how to make your money work in the best way to achieve the financial independence, to achieve, the ability to have the estate that you're looking for, to achieve the ability to afford the school fees, to live debt-free. That can all be achieved through financial advice, and that we at Momentum, of course, are elevating that this month.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we continue with this conversation.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, they say. But my toaster isn't broken exactly. It just lands my toast on the kitchen floor. You see, some things only kinda never work. Like a financial plan based on generic advice. That's why Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to understand you and only then apply their expertise. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. They say the early bird catches the worm. Great advice, unless you're the worm. Generic so-called wisdom doesn't work for everyone, so I settle for a financial plan that's one size fits some. Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to get to really know your unique situation. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, they say. But my toaster isn't broken exactly. It just lands my toast on the kitchen floor. You see, some things only kinda never work. Like a financial plan based on generic advice. That's why Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to understand you and only then apply their expertise. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. Some say the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Well, sometimes it gets the grease, sometimes it gets replaced. Generic guidance only fits a few situations. That's why Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to understand you and only then apply their expertise. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, they say. But my toaster isn't broken exactly. It just lands my toast on the kitchen floor. You see, some things only kinda never work. Like a financial plan based on generic advice. That's why Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to understand you and only then apply their expertise. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
The Momentum She Owns Her Success workshop returns for Season 7. For women who are ready to crack the code to success. Register now at sohs2025.co.za on 702.
19 minutes after 2 o'clock, and we continue our conversation that we are having together with Momentum. Season 7, She Owns Her Success campaign. We're talking about us as ladies having algorithm, and we are in conversation with Masechaba Gokolo, Insights Lead Research and Reporting. We have been discussing a research and a study that has really looked into what success looks like for some women. 011-883-0702 and the WhatsApp line 072-702-1702. Masechaba, your study highlights that women are resilient and resourceful, but also that personalized advice and support can make a very big difference. So what are the practical steps that can help women unlock these invisible codes and feel more financially confident?
Yeah, I think definitely to double click on that, when it comes to being resilient and resourceful, women are also very clear that they have a network that supports them, right? So while we have the algorithm in terms of the code, the influence, the power, the way that we shape and think on how to solve for certain things, it is important that we tap into the right resources and the right support to be able to uplift the way that we think. So we at Momentum, we've put together this incredible masterclass event, which is a series of masterclasses that is happening on Saturday, the 16th of August. You would have heard in the advert to please register and join us online. It is at sohs2025.co.za. where you'll be able to register. And actually what we want to do, again, it's not enough for us to say, oh, women have this issue, they have this problem, or they're not seeing the light. We are actually offering the tools to help you see the light, right? So there's some sessions there where we'll be discussing things like how you take financial advice to take you to the next step. It doesn't just happen. We're looking at conversations around what are the success codes that are being kind of brought down to us at a generational level. Like, what are some of the conversations that we're having that we're not realizing are impacting the way that we can achieve financial independence and financial success? Or perhaps even to say, not really helping us see how we can tap better into the networks that we have in order to achieve the success that we can as women.
So if we look at the fact that our economy right now is terribly unstable and women still find themselves being quite vulnerable when it comes to unemployment stats, we have a lot of single parent households headed by women. What would you say to women in those situations and positions?
Yeah, so what I would say is that we often talk about how we are limited by our own perspective, right? So we've got a very difficult economy. Inflation's going up. I mean, I saw recently the electricity tariffs are also going to be going up, and the cost of living is ever rising. So when you're looking at women who are heading out single-headed households, they're single mothers. We've got women who feel like they're really burdened by a lot of anxiety and stress in terms of the community that they need to take care of, in terms of the people that they need to support. We're just here to offer the advice that would take them out of certain financial situations, right? So when you're talking to an accredited financial advisor, like I say, it isn't about being at a certain income level. It isn't about being at a particular life stage or being settled. Even when you feel like you are drowning, even when you feel like there's no way out, all you really have to do is reach out to an advisor that will be able to structure things and give you a perspective on how you have structured your own personal finances to get you out of whichever situation you're in. So advice is about context, right? There is no one size fits all. There isn't, the ideal financial advisor client. It is about, as you are, where you are, you can benefit from financial advice. It doesn't need you to be at any particular stage.
So an interesting finding is that 3%, and that's quite a small number, say that they have no barriers to achieving success. What makes them have that perspective that they don't have a barrier?
Yeah, that was an interesting finding from the report. And to be honest with you, I'm also just like, who are these 3%? Like, I would love to meet this 3% of women who don't feel like they have any barriers. And I think a lot of them have already unpacked and unlocked what it is that they define as their own personal success. Again, success is a journey, right? It isn't a destination. There are different areas of success. On your journey to success, we can support you in any context. But it is about, if you have defined success in a way in which you feel like you have achieved it, and that at your current context, there are no barriers to it, I feel like that's where the 3% lie. But there's 97% of women who are clear that there are barriers, of which 39% say the barrier is themselves. So it is an interesting fact that 3% don't find barriers, but even me, I would like to meet them, definitely.
Right, so we can be like, what is the secret? What is that secret? Please talk to me a little bit more about the workshops and some of the content, even if it's overarching themes. I mean, I know you've touched on the fact that you're going to be providing tools and things like that. And yes, we encourage each and every one of you to head over to momentum.co.za and make sure that you register to be a part of this campaign and the series. And you can also keep following Momentum on the socials. They're on X, they're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Just search Momentum ZA on some of them, or LinkedIn, it's just Momentum, but it will come right up as a verified account, where then you are able to follow. I mean, this has been going on for a while now, and it just keeps getting bigger and better. So some of the things that are going to be discussed, I mean, we know finance and financial independence is a big, big one, but we know that's not the only thing that will be addressed. We have got a series of speakers around financial advice, as mentioned.
We have talks around what it is that makes us work the way that we do as women. What are the key tips and tricks and tools that we deploy? We talk about ways in which we can let compound interest work for us. So how you boost your bag in whatever venture that you go into, how can you amplify that and manage money management better? But we are most excited, of course, about our keynote speaker, Vanessa Kingori, who is actually the first Black publisher of British Vogue. I'm sure some may be familiar with her, I beg your pardon.
Yes.
But so she's going to be our keynote speaker, and she's really going to be touching on the topic around the value of her. So looking at how do you define your own value? How do you grow your value as a woman? How do you build your brand? The ways in which we support other women in going through that journey, and really just inspiring conversations around how she was able to achieve what she was able to achieve. So really the essence of the workshop, and I think what, logging on and what you can expect from that workshop is to just leave inspired, see yourself in your journey to success, be able to define that success, and really just encapsulate how we as Momentum are really believing in building that confidence for women to be able to achieve the financial independence that is within reach, and how they can just own their success and not be ashamed or cower at the idea of achieving their dreams.
Some of the other speakers I see, you're going to have Nozipho Shabalala coming through, chatting intentional money management. And I love that it speaks to it being intentional. Nozipho is a business broadcaster and a strategist. And this is going to be quite a powerful one, I'm sure. We've got Samke Mhlongo, who will be speaking also as well. And Samke is a leading South African wealth coach and founder of TNC Wealth Partners. And the more, the merrier, just in terms of speaking to that. Then compound wins and boosting the bag. We have Mohau Polo Leteka that will also be joining, who's a private equity pioneer and co-founder of Alethea IDF, where they invest in women-led businesses across Africa, because we're not just going to think Mzansi, we're going to think big. And then, one of my faves recently had a wonderful interview with her, Zandine Kapo, who will be joined by Ntando Zigalala, where they're exploring perspectives across generations, as in generational success codes. We also have a gentleman joining, Paul Nixon, head of behavioral finance at Momentum Advice, exploring how psychology shapes money habits. And we know that psychology plays a very big role in one's relationship with money and their habits as well. So it sounds like such a fantastic one that's going to be coming through. It's season 7. Head over to momentum.co.za. As soon as you land on the home page, you can click register now and be part of what is going to be a fantastic experience. Thank you so much for coming through and chatting to us, Mas Chaba. I think it is going to be one for the books again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
And I'm just smiling because I'm like, all these wonderful women on the lineup. This EWN Traffic Report is brought to you by Momentum. Are you making power moves? Join She Owns Her Success Season 7. Sign up now at sohs2025.co.za. It's 2:30. Time for your latest Eyewitness News headlines. Good afternoon.
Thanks, Relebogile. Good afternoon. The Gauteng Transport Department is appealing for calm following taxi-related violence in Pimville, Soweto. MEC Kidiboni Dialetlhabela has been briefing the media at Mabotja Mall, where an e-hailing driver was killed last night. This morning, the MEC held a meeting with members of the local taxi association and e-hailing operators to try and find a solution to the ongoing feud. Members of the ad hoc committee investigating police corruption have raised concerns about the quality of legal advice it will receive from Parliament. They are now demanding Parliament's chief legal advisor be present at meetings instead of deploying someone from her office. The committee held its second meeting today to finalize its terms of reference. And lawyers representing murder-accused Gatiso Molefe have asked the Alexandra Magistrates Court to be guided by a High Court decision granting him bail. bail. Molefe returned to the Alexandra Magistrate Court today, where he is charged in connection with the murders of popular musicians DJ Sambodi and DJ Vintos, whose real names were Upa Sefuka and Hector Buthelezi. At the time of his arrest last month, he was already out on bail for another murder case. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 3 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
This Eyewitness News traffic report is brought to you by Momentum. Are you making power moves? Join She Owns Her Success Season 7. Sign up now at sohs2025.co.za.
Well, Relebogile, at this stage, if you're heading towards Midrand, leaving the Alex area, bumper-to-bumper traffic, this is on the N3 northbound between Morafontein Road and the Butlu interchange. Also slow-moving traffic in the Marlborough area. That's also heading towards Midrand on the M1 northbound between Greyston Drive and the Butlu interchange. Also look out for those faulty traffic lights in the Randburg area at Malibongo Drive and Mahogany. Traffic lights also not working in Rand Park Ridge at Bayers Nodia and the N1 North. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, they say. But my toaster isn't broken exactly. It just lands my toast on the kitchen floor. You see, some things only kinda never work. Like a financial plan based on generic advice. That's why Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to understand you and only then apply their expertise. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. They say the early bird catches the worm. Great advice, unless you're the worm. Generic so-called wisdom doesn't work for everyone, so I settle for a financial plan that's one size fits some. Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to get to really know your unique situation. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, they say. But my toaster isn't broken exactly. It just lands my toast on the kitchen floor. You see, some things only kinda never work. Like a financial plan based on generic advice. That's why Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to understand you and only then apply their expertise. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. Some say the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Well, sometimes it gets the grease, sometimes it gets replaced. Generic guidance only fits a few situations. That's why Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to understand you and only then apply their expertise. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. Some say the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Well, sometimes it gets the grease, sometimes it gets replaced. Generic guidance only fits a few situations. That's why Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to understand you and only then apply their expertise. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. They say the early bird catches the worm. Great advice, unless you're the worm. Generic so-called wisdom doesn't work for everyone, so I settle for a financial plan that's one size fits some. Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to get to really know your unique situation. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
Coming up
on 702 Drive.
702 Drive is coming up from 3 to 6 p.m. Rangwane Sabo is in the building standing in for John Pullman.
Hello, Mangwane. I hope you're well.
I am well.
So lovely to see you, Relebogile.
And you, do you have snacks?
Today I forgot.
How did you forget? This man always, you can't set a standard of bringing snacks every day.
But given the circumstances, you'll forgive me.
Nah.
Given the circumstances, we're not ourselves.
No, we really
We're
are not in the building at the moment, but we shall keep it moving.
We keep it moving. We keep it moving. That's why I forgot. I mean, I remembered as I got off the lift. I'm like, yeah. But Relebogile, on the show this afternoon, I'm standing in for John between 3 and 6. The convention for the talks is kicking off tomorrow. We'll be speaking to Bantu Holomisa, the leader of the UDM. We'll ask if this is a setup for a monumental failure or a great success. You'll know the controversies around the national dialogue that have been taking place. And we touch on a very interesting subject of the potential of Stokvels being economic hubs for communities in the periphery.
Yes.
So townships, peri-urban areas, rural areas, they usually have Stokvels going around, and how that phenomenon of Stokvels has morphed into something interesting, because now we have property Stokvels, agricultural Stokvels, the Stokvels, and can they really be
holiday Stokvels?
And holiday
There's
Stokvels.
so many, yes.
Yeah. We'll chat about that a little bit later on. And on a lighter note, we will ask about, is it rude if you don't want children to attend an event on your invite and you say no kids?
No.
Is it rude? Are you being a mean monster when you're saying that?
I'm a parent.
Yeah.
And I support events that don't have children.
Yeah.
If you are going to be responsible, because if you say children are welcome, I expect it to be child friendly.
Yes.
So now if you say children are not welcome, I understand the brief. Let's also not be entitled parents. Come on, guys.
Yeah, and someone say, I didn't have a childminder, so I brought my... And it's uncomfortable
I think
for
it is
everyone.
so rude when people show up. I don't know if it happens that much in South Africa, but I've seen people share stories online where they rock up with small kids anyways to weddings and venues where there are crystals and things.
Yes.
I think it is so rude. I would send y'all, or I wouldn't do it myself. I'd be like... Security! Get the children out of here.
So all that and more between 3 and 6.
There we go, 702 Drive. Coming up from 3 to 6 p.m. Guys, leave the children at home if they say no kids are allowed.
The Momentum She Owns Her Success workshop returns for season 7. For women who are ready to crack the code to success. Register now at sohs2025.co.za on 702.
It is 21 minutes to 3 o'clock, and we are jumping into a conversation around the invisible barriers that women with disabilities face in South Africa. And I thought this is quite an important one to have, it being Women's Month. And we had the opportunity, with Wendy Nola not being with us today, in our consumer rights feature. So I am so honored to welcome into studio, qualified in PR and call center training, also living with osteogenesis imperfecta, which we all know commonly as brittle bones, Lungi Nkwani, joining us in studio. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Ria, and thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you for coming through. I want to ask your permission to describe to the listeners. So for awareness purposes, Lungi is in a wheelchair, in studio, living with brittle bone disease. And I would love for you to share with all of us what that actually means.
Okay. Osteogenesis imperfecta, it's a chronic disease known as brittle bones. So you are born with it, so they will diagnose it whilst the mother is still pregnant, or sometimes they might even spot it when the child is born. So it happens that your bones are brittle, they break easily, there's slow development in growing, and you would encounter a lot of fractures, because I myself, I think I had like almost 20 fractures in life, and it's been more than 15 years from now without breaking a bone.
Wow. Talk to us about when you got your diagnosis. I actually was not aware that doctors can diagnose while the child is in the womb. I was not aware. I have interviewed another lady who I think she had 50-something fractures, was diagnosed late. And I was absolutely shocked at the fact that she's still alive, number one.
Yes.
But number two, the amount of pain that she has had to live with. So in your case, were your parents told prior to your birth that this is what we see? And is that through the blood, or they can actually see something happening in the womb?
In my case, I think when my mom was around 3 months, if I'm not mistaken, they could identify that, no, this child is not like any fetus. So she had encountered a lot of problems, because even doctors were forcing her to terminate, because they were like, no, this child won't make it until she is 3 months. And then, funny enough, God showed himself that, no, I am God at the end of the day. So she gave birth, and then, okay, they said 3 months, I won't live, and 3 months passed. Then they came and said 6 months, it passed. They said 12 years, I'll be just a cabbage sitting there doing nothing. And funny enough, I was able to go to school like any other child, but I had to be careful in terms of playing, because I would break a bone. And then till today, here I am. And what amazes me is, even with the condition that I have, I'm a mother of a 4-year-old child.
What?
So
my goodness, that is quite miraculous.
It is indeed, because even when I was pregnant, they were like, no, this child is also going to be disabled, but he is a healthy, bouncing baby. He's 4 years old, turning 5. He's okay.
Yes.
He's normal. I did not have any fractures when I was pregnant, and I'm still okay. So I think the secret behind it, it's just giving your life to God and surrendering. That's all. And everything will be well.
So how old are you now?
I'm 27 years old.
I cannot believe that doctors kept giving you a death sentence, in inverted commas. And I always say that doctors are brilliant, but they never know everything. There's always room for miracles. So for you to be here, that is phenomenal. And the fact that you've gone 15 years without having a fracture. Can you describe to all of us how slight a bump would need to be for that fracture to happen? I mean, you talk about being a child at school and having to be careful. And I look at my 4-year-old toddler. He is constantly bumping his head. He is constantly, and the fracture he has had is a collarbone. But even then, it healed quite quickly.
Yes.
Can you describe what your first fracture was like? I know fractures can happen without you even falling over, and how the healing is from the fracture.
Okay, I once asked my mom what really happened when I was born. Then she said to me, when you were born, you had a fracture immediately after birth, and that was caused by the not being careful of the midwife. So I was like, how did you see that I had a fracture? She would say, no, your hand would get swollen up. And then one time, okay, mom was trying to fit a hat on my head. Just her fitting it, I got a fracture on the neck or somewhere in the body.
Yeah.
And by just cutting my nails, by just me pulling back my hand, I would break. So they had to be extra careful. So no one would just come and say, let me pick up this baby. They had to always be careful. And to other people, it would seem as if they don't want them to carry me. But it was not about that. They didn't understand. So even when they had to take me to preschool, before the school had to admit me for the to take me to school, to accept me, they had to sit down with the principal. They had to call all the caregivers and explain that, no, this child, the only thing that you just need to do is to just be extra careful. So for them to understand, they would describe by saying, just just imagine putting a glass and breaking it. You won't be able to put it again back. You wouldn't be able to mend it again. But you just need to be careful. And like I would say, every month I would be in hospital because of fractures. So the healing process, it would take about 3 weeks. So the whole 3 weeks I'll be admitted in hospital. Maybe I would have a cast on the hand, or they would admit me depending on what really broke. So that it will like I always ask myself, the kind of brain that God gave me, I wonder what is it really special, or what's going on? Because of, even though I was admitted in hospital, but I would always be on point with my schoolwork, and sometimes I would even be ahead of my classmates.
Oh, wow.
Even though I'm admitted.
Yes.
And then, funny enough, I'm a right-handed person, but if my hand would break on the right-hand side, I would rather use my left leg and still right.
Left leg?
Left leg or the right, depending on which one is, because again, it depends on the pain. So if the pain is straining my right side, you have to use my left. How? I don't know. But I could really cooperate with my schoolwork. I could manage, be on point till today.
Yo, we're going to take a break, and I'm sure some of you have so many questions. 072-702-1702, or give us a call, 011-883-0702.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, they say. But my toaster isn't broken exactly. It just lands my toast on the kitchen floor. You see, some things only kinda never work. Like a financial plan based on generic advice. That's why Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to understand you and only then apply their expertise. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. They say the early bird catches the worm. Great advice, unless you're the worm. Generic so-called wisdom doesn't work for everyone. So I settle for a financial plan that's one size fits some. Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to get to really know your unique situation. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. Some say the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Well, sometimes it gets the grease, sometimes it gets replaced. Generic guidance only fits a few situations. That's why Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to understand you and only then apply their expertise. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. They say the early bird catches the worm. Great advice, unless you're the worm. Generic so-called wisdom doesn't work for everyone, so I settle for a financial plan that's one size fits some. Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to get to really know your unique situation. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
The Momentum She Owns Her Success workshop returns for Season 7 for women who are ready to crack the code to success. Register now at sohs2025.co.za on 702.
10 minutes to 3 o'clock, and we continue with our conversation around the invisible barriers women with disabilities face in South Africa. We're joined by Lungi Mkwani, who is a person who is living with osteogenesis imperfecta, or what we commonly know as brittle bones. Your calls with your questions on 011-883-0702 and the WhatsApp line 072-702-1702. Lungi, can you describe for us what your mobility issues are as somebody living with brittle bones? And is it automatic that if you are born with brittle bones, you will find yourself being a person who is living with disabilities?
Okay, when with me, I am unable to walk, so I am supposed to use an electric wheelchair because of if I were to use a manual wheelchair, then it would lead to unplanned fractures.
Oh, with your arms and your shoulders and all the movements, yes.
So, with me moving around, it would require me to always be on my wheelchair and so on. But I try my utmost best to not always limit myself. But again, with walking, it's impossible due to the weight and so on.
Yes.
So yeah.
So let's talk then about some of the barriers you face as a woman living with a disability. We know that South Africa is still far behind when it comes to accessibility of many facilities. Maybe chat to us about the barriers that maybe we don't think about because we're not living that world.
Thank you very much for that question. The barriers that I always encounter, it's being employed, and then public transport. It's a huge barrier because of sometimes, every time when you need to use a public transport, you need to explain yourself. No, I need to just get to this place. And then you might find that the driver is accommodating, but the passengers
are not.
So, and then that's the thing.
Can you describe for us what that requires? So, does that mean because you're in an electric wheelchair,
yes,
you can get yourself to the station or the rank?
Yes.
Now, when it comes time, I'm assuming because you're moving independently,
yes,
which is obviously very key, is that you don't want to have a carer be with you all the time.
Yes.
So that would mean somebody would have to help carry you into the transport and then also create space and move your wheelchair in as well.
So in my case, when I because right now I'm doing a learnership at Africa Cocoon, which is based in Randburg, but right now we are being based at Johannesburg. So my daily base living is that I would get to the rank. So before I started my learnership, I had to go to the taxi association in the office. And then I had to ask them that, okay, I am going to need transportation in this time, like, because I leave the house at 6 o'clock.
Why did you have to go to the association to ask?
So that when I get there, I don't have to wait. Because you wait for hours and hours until you get a taxi that will be able to accommodate your wheelchair. And it's very rare to get a taxi that will accommodate a wheelchair. Because with my case, they need to get a 13-seater. The one that has a space in between by the door and the passenger's chair.
Yes.
So they had
the
to
one where
arrange
the chair folds up.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So they had to arrange that taxi. And you wait for hours, even though you try to explain to the queue marshals that I am running late. I need to be at school. But you know, sometimes not everyone will feel pity for you. Not everyone will understand. So you need to make arrangements ahead. But it tires. I don't want to lie. It really tires because even though you explain, you might find that on the next day, you need to explain the very same thing that you explained yesterday.
Do they charge you as one person?
Unfortunately, some taxi drivers, I need to pay for myself and for the wheelchair.
Wow.
And sometimes if I'm going with someone, because in most cases, if I don't know a place, I would take my dad along or my younger brother. He has to help me to fold the wheelchair because in some places, some taxi drivers, they don't want to help. They will tell you, it's not my job. It's not my duty. You only paid me to take you from where I took you and where you need to be. Picking you up, it's not involved in the payment that you're going to pay for the taxi.
Yeah.
So sometimes I need to pay for myself, for the wheelchair, and my brother or the person that I'm taking along.
You mentioned employment. Do you think that you are being discriminated against, or do you think that certain companies are unable to give you opportunities because their facilities are not yet able to accommodate you?
In my case, I am very discriminated because of in the year of 2022 till 2023, I was volunteering at our local police station for the whole year, and I was not getting any stipend or transport money. And then in that year, there were posts being advertised. And the post was for administration and logistic. So because of I already did the training for admin and for logistic, when I applied, I was ticking all the boxes. All of them, qualification and everything. I was ticking the box. And then one colonel ruined everything for me. He did not hide it. He came right in front of my face and he told me, "We will not take you because of you are living with a disability." And in this police station, there are many things that are taking place. There are so many shootings. Criminals do sometimes come in here and try to attack us. And I asked him a question so politely that why are you only realizing that I'm living with a disability when I'm applying for a permanent position? Why didn't you see that when I was volunteering? And I was not even demanding for payment, but I was doing it so that I can market myself, so that you guys can see the potential that I have and not the disability that I have.
So what I'm going to have to do, because we've run out of time, Lungi, and I want to absolutely thank you. Are you on social media?
Yes, I am on
Please
social
share.
media. On Facebook, it's Lungelwa Mokwani. And then on TikTok, it's Dr. Lu. And yeah, those are the only platforms that I am currently.
Lungi holds an info on public relations, has call center training and experience in business and office administration. Please send us an email, 702afternoons@702.co.za if you would like to assist.
The Momentum She Owns Her Success workshop returns for season 7 for women who are ready to crack the code to success. Register now at sohs2025.co.za on 702.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, they say. But my toaster isn't broken exactly. It just lands my toast on the kitchen floor. You see, some things only kinda never work. Like a financial plan based on generic advice. That's why Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to understand you and only then apply their expertise. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, they say. But my toaster isn't broken exactly. It just lands my toast on the kitchen floor. You see, some things only kinda never work. Like a financial plan based on generic advice. That's why Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to understand you and only then apply their expertise. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. Some say the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Well, sometimes it gets the grease, sometimes it gets replaced. Generic guidance only fits a few situations. That's why Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to understand you and only then apply their expertise. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. They say the early bird catches the worm. Great advice, unless you're the worm. Generic so-called wisdom doesn't work for everyone, so I settle for a financial plan that's one size fits some. Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to get to really know your unique situation. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
Earlier on, we were chatting to Momentum about season 7 of their She Owns Her Success workshop right here on 702. It's 3 o'clock.
This is EWN.
No solutions yet for taxi-related tensions in Soweto, and Joburg Mayor works to clean up the city's finances. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Gauteng Transport MEC Gidiboni Dialetlhabela has to go back to the drawing board after a failed meeting with industry leaders over violent clashes between taxi operators and e-hailing drivers. This comes after 2 e-hailing vehicles were torched outside Mabotja Mall in Soweto last night. One driver was shot and killed during the incident, while 2 other people sustained injuries. Today, Dialetlhabela held a meeting to try and quell the tensions between the stakeholders,